All right, we're recording.
Welcome,
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
I might have lost my book on my desk here. Oh, I got it. So, the June meeting of Bette's Business Book Club. Start with why. Is it coming up the right way? Okay. Never know if it's going to be backwards or not.
Start. Oh yeah, that much is coming up correctly.
We don't all know each other, which is really cool. So should we just do like a quick little intro? I'll start since I'm special, I guess. This is my doing. So I am Bette Hochberger, CPA, an avid reader, and the reason I put this together is because I had the thought, if I'm reading all these books or listening to these books, and there's such great ideas, and if at least 1 a month I could discuss with somebody else and try to implement it, how much better would my business be? How much better would I be as a business person or just a human in general if I could do this 12 times a year, right? Certainly better than I was otherwise. So that's why I set up this book club. Kind of ended up being a kind of a good thing that with the coronavirus can't meet in person, because now I've got different people than ever would show up before coming and doing it in this format. So I'm excited. Let's see, Sarah, you want to go next? I'm just going to go across my little list of people who I see.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sarah Epting. I recently started a business in April that helps organizations, nonprofit organizations and small business set up Salesforce, and also trains people to be Salesforce administrators at the same time, kind of with an apprenticeship program. And so this has actually been super helpful for me. Read or listened to 2 business books this month, and it's nice to kind of get going and start with why. I wrote my why statement yesterday. So I appreciate it.
Nice, that's awesome. All right, I hope you're saying your name right. Friso?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right.
You're one of the very few who is not saying Frisco, so.
There's no C. I get it. People call me Bette Hutchenberger, and I'm like, there's no N. Or usually it's Betty Hutchenberger. I'm like, it's not even close, but.
Well, me as a German, I would say Hochberger.
Oh, you say it the right way. I say it the American way. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
well, I would say it Hochberger, but yeah.
Well, close enough.
It's all good.
Okay, so my name is Friso Kramer. I'm an accountant, and I came across Bette's profile because she's as well a profit first professional, and I just joined this community. And then I thought this book club is a very good idea, so that I start reading more even again. And that's why I'm here. And I like this book anyway, so was a perfect start.
Awesome, welcome. Wait, what time is it where you are?
It's now 1:10. I'm on the East Coast.
Oh, you're on the East Coast. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey.
Oh, all right. I thought you were in Germany. I was like, oh, where are you?
No, otherwise I would be now 7:10 p.m. Then.
Well, I'm originally from New Jersey, so I feel you. Well, welcome. I'm glad you joined us.
Yeah, thank you.
Shragi.
Hey, I'm Shragi Zisman. I do investments and insurance down here in Florida, as well as up in New York and New Jersey. I still now with Zoom, I actually do trainings in my New Jersey office again, which is awesome, in Oakland, New Jersey. And I am an avid book starter. I tend to start a lot of books. I will admit I am only this far through. Well,
you're so close to the end.
I am almost, which is further than I get in most books that I start. Usually it's like chapter 1 or 2.
If it's like my version, page 225 or whatever is the last page, and there's a bunch of crap at the end.
Yeah, that's we must have the same one. Yeah, then it starts the afterward. I'm on page 144, which, like I said, is further than I get through a lot of books. So I'm appreciative of it. my plan is to finish this one while I wait for the next book, which you haven't announced yet, to come from Amazon, because Amazon is not quite overnight anymore.
Yeah, seriously.
So heck, I just tried to order Scrabble for my parents, and I paid like $40 for the set because it's the cheapest you can find at Target. Well, everyone is out of Scrabble. You know, I'm glad to see that people are playing like, you know, games where you have to spell. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, and I should be reading a lot more. I should be reading more consistently, and this is helping me get there. And being able to discuss it afterwards is just you know, bonus. So I appreciate it.
Awesome, thanks. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. He's here. Ajaman, are you gonna?
Why can you not believe?
I can't believe.
In the
My
flesh.
favorite client
Hello.
in the whole world, right here.
What's up, everybody? My name is Ajaman Clay. I'm a professionally trained actor and a fashion model, and also an entrepreneur. I was able to read this book during my most recent business venture, and it really helped solidify our brand principles that we intend to continue to strive for, and also reinforces me annually reinforcing my core values as a person, and also what I represent in the industry. So I really got a kick out of it, and would love to hear what everyone else is going to say.
Fantastic. Nice to see you. It's been a while.
Good to see you too. Yeah. In fact, I might be in and out of the meeting because I'm actually working on an audition, but I did make a commitment to be part of this discussion. So I wanted to make sure I'm here.
All right, cool.
What's that?
I said, we'll let it slide.
Okay, cool.
You know, if you need us to run lines with you, just throw them into the chat, and you know.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. Cool.
I'll break a leg, dude.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and Sandy. Are you still here, Sandy? Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe.
All right, Sandy, if you are coming back at some point, we'll do an intro, and we'll see what happens. All right, so let's hop in it. There's not that I searched so hard, but I did like a quick Google search, and I couldn't really find discussion questions for this book like I did with Good to Great. So I'm just gonna kind of, I don't know, thumb through again and think about what struck me. I mean, I'll say the thing that sticks in my mind the most, it's somewhere relatively early in the book. He talks about, I think it's like laundry detergent, and what do people say they want out of their laundry detergent versus what did they do? And maybe it was somewhere in the middle. I have like no concept of time anymore. But he said, you know, you ask people, you do research, and they're like, oh, we want it to be clean. We want our whites whiter and our brights brighter and this and that. And then people would wash their clothes and take it out of the dryer. And the first thing they do, they're smelling them, right? Nobody said, I want my stuff to smell clean. And that, I mean, for me, for what I do, it resonated so much because you talk to people about, and I'm an accountant, so I talk to people about accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, and they never say to me, I want my bookkeeping to be as accurate as possible. I want my tax return to be as correct as possible. You know, those are like, I don't know if it's just things that are just a given, you know, like, oh, of course you're going to do it right. Like, that's not what they want. And I will talk to people about, like, you know, we make sure we do things the right way and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, all right, whatever. And for many years, I couldn't understand why nobody was excited by having their books be right. I'm like, I don't get it. Why isn't this what they want? Like, this means I did a good job. And they just don't care. I don't know if anyone else had like a moment of, you know, part of what he described like that. But that one really like struck me.
Well, to me, one of the things that struck me, that stood out right from the beginning, and you know, he refers to a number of different companies and industries throughout the book. And what struck me, and especially, it really hit me right away when he was talking about the computer companies, you know, versus Apple and things like that. Notice that Apple obviously is still around and still doing their thing and still epitomizes the lifestyle of the Y that they represent, but Gateway is not around anymore. There was another one that he mentioned that isn't around anymore. Dell is really just making computers now. So
yeah,
really,
which is what he said.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's what he said, but he had no way of knowing that Gateway was going to, fall by the wayside. At the time that he wrote it, Gateway was a major player still in computers. I think they were still a major player at the time. And the same thing with the airlines. Southwest is a large. I fly Southwest sometime up to New York even. But the company that it was based on, which I forget what it was. Which one it was that Southwest copied, if it's still around, it's still just a small regional player. And it's just that, time has borne out what he said with those companies. So to me, that was, sort of the proof in the pudding that what he's talking about works. Besides the fact, I've spoken about it. When nobody wants to buy life insurance. Nobody wants to set aside money for investments. They're looking for the security that it gives them. They're looking for the protection for their family. They're looking for the lifestyle that having those things represent. What Bette was saying, was very true, but that thing about the companies, that he said they don't have a clear why, or, are the companies that sort of fell by the wayside and disappeared.
Yeah, it's totally true. And it's kind of that same thing, you're saying no one wants to buy insurance. No one really wants to buy tax return, or bookkeeping, but what do they want to buy? They want to buy knowing that if something goes wrong, right? Like they get audited by the IRS for some reason, that I'm not going to leave them high and dry and be like, oh, well, that's your problem. Yeah, I prepared it, but you figure it out. They want that security, or they want to know, like, I can help you make the taxes not be something you worry about. So you aren't waiting till the last second, which makes me nuts. But but usually it's like, why are people pushing off filing their taxes? Because they're worried they owe money. They don't have the money. They spent it. They don't know on what. And what are they going to do? Whereas if I'm like, listen, I have a system for you. You won't have that ever happen again. They're like, oh, okay. That's like takes a big headache away.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know that you're going to help them be happier, feel better, be more secure, have more stability, safety net, something. So yeah, it's like, why does it matter if your tax return is correct? So you don't get audited. But if you get audited, we'll still help you. And it took me so long to understand that like no one gives a crap about me, my process, how I do what I do. It was really how it makes them feel. Right? And the what you do and the how you do it doesn't relate to the feelings. So I don't know. And it's also really like all his things referring back to like the Martin Luther King speeches, especially like he said, I had a dream. I don't have a plan. I don't have like a 9-point plan. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. Like I'll always be like, I have a plan for this. We're like, whatever, you have a plan. Good job. Nobody cares about your plan.
Yeah.
Or with Colgate, that they have now 32 different toothpastes plus 4 for kids.
Yes, how much toothpaste does one person need? Well, and it's funny is because it kind of crosses over into other books that we covered before. I don't even remember which one. They start talking about when you have too many options, your brain can't handle it. You can't make a decision. So you might walk in and say, I'm going to buy toothpaste, be like a whole supermarket row of toothpaste and be like, I don't know, I can't deal with this, and walk out with no toothpaste. I mean, maybe not toothpaste because you need it. You might just grab whatever, but they find, you have too many options, you pick nothing. Your just brain can't process it all and you're overwhelmed. So I thought that was also interesting because he does talk about things that were in, my brain's going to freeze on me. Not Start With Why, that's what we're reading. I have to like see the books that I can't remember their titles. I don't know. Someone keep talking. I'll figure it out eventually. I'm looking at my bookshelf.
So after I read it, I realized that it actually took me quite a while to identify my whys with my most recent company, it like led me to read like Mastery by Robert Greene. I think How Successful People Think by John C. Maxwell. I really had to pray on it a lot in order to put the pen to paper on my why for this most recent company. So I want to know, everyone that read this, did you go back and re-identify your whys? And if so, could you, tell us what they were as it relates to your business and how you may have changed since, reading this book?
Like I said, when I introduced myself, I rewrote my why statement, but I'm only 2 months into my business. So basically, why I started my business called Technopath is because I was in a very abusive marriage. And when I was able to learn Salesforce, which ends up to be a very lucrative career because there's a lot of gap and need for people who know how to use the software, it saved my life, really. And so I want to be able to bring other people up to that level. And I think what reframed it for me is like, I knew that, right? And I knew I wanted to help nonprofits implement this so that they can do better in their community, so they can spend less time trying to pull reports for grants and actually help fulfill their mission. So I started from that why place, but when I've been trying to do the marketing materials and stuff, I've been trying to explain the how and the what more than the why. So that's how I'm reframing it. That's why I wrote out kind of like what a new video I'm gonna put up as one of my first blogs and stuff about my why.
Amazing.
It's definitely, I mean, I work with Primerica, and Primerica is fairly clear on the why, why we do what we do. What sort of shifted in my mind is how I present that, because as much as people are interested in the company's why, in my industry, they care about my why as well, and sort of redirecting how I talk about certain things and stepping a little bit further back from necessarily the what and the how and focusing a little bit more on the why has definitely shifted. I mean, obviously there's a lot of the what and the how that are important, but shifting a little bit of the why of the potential clients' whys, or a teammate that I'm working with, some of their why and how it ties into the company's why, it sort of shifted a little bit of my focus of the conversation. And I definitely, it's something I recognize in, Truth Leaves Breadcrumbs, and, I've read or heard a lot of different things on the whys and things like that, but it really helped me focus more on presenting the company's why more so than and how it relates to the client's why. I don't know if I'm really expressing myself properly here, but it's changed how I have the conversation with people.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, and maybe it's because our industries are not so separated, but like I have why did I start my business? Well, I worked for bigger firms that the work-life balance was horrible and they treated you like crap, and just the internal politics were miserable, that I was like, why am I even on this hamster wheel of trying to move up the ladder? Because it's like you'd move up a little and then they'd be like, oh, don't forget there's a whole nother ladder up above. Once you got to this level, you keep going and we're going to throw things at you while you try to climb it. So, I really wanted a different kind of environment and a different kind of firm. And I didn't want that macho traditional CPA firm, like, we're going to work 80 hours and you have no life, blah, blah, blah. There was no value to the employees. I don't think it's valuable to the clients. They're not getting, if someone's been working for 80 hours, you're not getting good results, you're not getting good work, and they're not thinking creatively about what they're doing for you. So I had all of that in mind when I started my firm, but none of that would translate to talking to clients. It's like, oh yeah, we'll do your bookkeeping, we'll do this, we'll do that. But if you don't put a lot of that into your messaging, what differentiates me doing your taxes and bookkeeping from the guy with another shingle down the street doing your bookkeeping and tax work and whatever? There's really nothing. So I had to figure out what I wanted for myself, what my internal personal why was, how it related to my business, and how does it relate to my customers. And it turns out it's all actually interconnected, which is fantastic, right? Like, I want to build a business that supports me financially and lets me have the life that I want to live. But that's what I want for my clients too. I want them to be financially secure and successful and build a life that they enjoy living. So I think it made it solidify in my brain that what he was talking about with understanding your why, like, I needed to just infuse that into my conversations, and my sales conversations have gotten much better as a result of infusing my own personal why and my business's why into my clients' why. Because nobody gets off a call with me and goes, I don't want to make more money. I don't want to be more successful. I don't want to grow my business. I just want the cheapest, fastest, crappiest bookkeeping I can get. And if that's what you want, I'm not the firm for you. So, and it lets me know right off the bat, if somebody wanted that, go elsewhere. You can find somebody cheaper. You can always find someone cheaper. It's not gonna be good, but you'll find someone cheaper. But my big takeaway is my website marketing is horrendous. None of that information is anywhere on my website. So I definitely have some homework. I gotta go rewrite everything. I mean, right now it's filled with COVID-19 stimulus stuff, but even the other pages, it's nowhere. It's not reflected in there. So I have some work to do.
Yeah, that's super important. I noticed that sometimes as well in my profession, where whether it's social media or my portfolio or even the signature in my email, especially after reading a book like this, you want to make sure, across all platforms or how you're presented, that your why is speaking for itself.
It's true. It's true. It also gives you, he talks about authenticity. And if you don't have why is this personally important to me, you're not going to come across authentic, right? What makes you sound authentic? Talking about something that you really care about is going to make you sound authentic.
Right.
Like he says in the book then as well. So companies ask now their clients already, what should I say to sound authentic to you?
Right? It's the biggest irony. I'm going to do a market research to figure out what sounds authentic. It's
yeah,
you're missing the point.
Yeah. What should we tell you to be authentic to you then? Yeah.
And the harder you try, the less authentic it is. Right?
It's basically, what lies should we tell to be sincere? And that's what it is.
So with that being said, are you all also prepared for the backlash that may come from standing down on your why? Like, for instance, if you think about Nike, 3 years ago, they came out with this Kaepernick ad and they got backlash, but they said, this reflects our company values, our brand values. And then now you see it as, a very important decision that they made, and people are now backing them. So I think about that as well sometimes, is in the why, are we also prepared to receive the brunt of our why decisions, in business?
Well, I think for Nike, they got so much free advertising out of that and so much free press. Whether you agreed with them or didn't agree with them, they were everywhere with that controversy. So in some ways it's, brilliant marketing. But if it's really what you believe, I guess you shouldn't care. If you're going to upset people, you can't make everybody happy, right? That's true, no matter what.
True.
on the other hand, Nike is in such a strong position, yeah. So if now a lot of sports team would say, hey, we cannot work with you anymore, then the sponsoring what Nike gives them would go away, and probably, let's say, Adidas, Puma, or which other company they could replace them, they won't offer them as much money then. So at the end, it's then a disadvantage then again for the sports team. Let's say, I don't know, whatever basketball team is sponsored by Nike and pumps there in, I don't know, 50, 100 million a year. So and now they say, okay, you don't want to work with us anymore because of this advertising. So now, let's say Puma comes in, offers them just 50 million for the same deal. So then they cannot pay their players anymore. And then at the end, then they go down as well. So.
But is it harder to make stands as a company as you scale, as you get bigger, because you are making so much money and maybe people that don't disagree with you spend money with you? Do you find it, I'm just posing a question. Do we find it harder for companies as they get bigger to, take these types of stances?
I think it's almost easy.
Me, it's personally?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I would say if they are in a strong position, they can much easier come up with a statement like this. If you would be just a small brand who wants to get bigger and you make this statement and now all your customers go away because it's unpopular and they can just go to another one, then you're done. So Nike is that strong. If they would lose, let's say 10% of their customers for, I'm just saying for a few months, because then usually everything calms down and their recurring customers will come back anyway because they love their products. It's much easier for them as if you would be a startup now and you would do the same, because usually it might be the right principle you're standing for, but you're out of business, I believe, because you will end up in such cash flow issues.
I mean, I think though, part of what he talks about in one of the later chapters is, one of the biggest challenges to your sticking with your why was success. So when you get to something like Nike, I'm sure, to be a fly on the wall when they were making that decision to run that series of ads or whatever exactly they did, I'm sure they had plenty of people who were like, the backlash is going to be so horrible, you should not do this, versus, the ones who were like, oh, the backlash is going to be bad, we should do this because it's free press, or somebody in there who's like, we really believe in this, we need to do it. So you're going to have so many more voices in there. Oh, sorry.
But when you're creating a culture that, you're building your tribe, do you really think that many people who would be at the decision-making level would have a problem with it?
Yeah.
I think that, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think you have, because you've got lawyers, you've got, marketers, you've got so many people that will come at you with these different perspectives. You got to kind of filter through and how do you guide through that? If you have a strong why, if I don't know what Nike's specific why is, but if that was in alignment with their why, it's easier to say, okay, we have this decision, we made this decision, we don't really care so much what the naysayers internally have to say about it. But if you don't have that, then why are you making those decisions? It's usually going to be, we want publicity or, something like that.
Well, I mean, part of, in that particular example, part of what you're looking at is, if that's a reflection of their why, then their loyal customers, and he talks about, the loyal customers are the people that are loyal because of your why, regardless of, if you are necessarily the absolutely best product or necessarily, the absolutely, least expensive or cheapest product, but they're there because of the why. If that's in alignment with their why, and again, he talks about the fact that for tech, he's into the tech companies, but his sister was into the fashion, and he couldn't care less. He didn't know the difference between a $20 pair of jeans and a $60 pair or $100 pair of jeans.
I was like 60 and 20 is not a big difference.
Yeah, that's true.
$300 jeans or whatever.
Yeah, all right. A pair of again, I'm so not into what the current jeans are. I was gonna say, yeah, the difference between a pair of Levi's or Route 66 jeans and a pair of Diesel jeans. I don't know if Diesel's still a hot name in jeans anymore. I'm getting old. But I'm sorry?
15 years ago, maybe.
Again, I'm getting old. But like, to me, Nike was about a quality pair of sneakers. But the last pair of sneakers I bought was, Saucony. I think it's the brand for DSW, because I just needed something that wasn't falling apart like my old Skechers were that I'd had for years. And, so to me, maybe the controversy meant one way or the other, and it really doesn't matter. But but I wasn't sticking with Nike because of this or not because of this. There were some people that I'm sure that if they knew the why behind Nike, that made them just that much more loyal to them. And maybe they went out and bought that extra pair of sneakers because they wanted to support Nike. While the people who jumped away and bought a pair of Adidas or Reebok or something instead, or New Balance because of that, those are the people that if New Balance was running a sale, they were going to go buy the New Balance instead of the Nike anyway. So ultimately, it didn't make a difference to the loyal customer and to the and he talks about the fact that while you want all the customers, you don't need the fair weather customer. Now, it doesn't make it a different decision and a harder decision. I think as you scale, if you don't have people at the top that are super passionate about what they're doing and why they're doing it, then it starts coming down to a money decision and a sort of a business decision versus a business vision decision. So as a smaller company scales, if they're truly dedicated to their why, they should be able to ignore the naysayers and this is what we're doing, why we're doing it, and therefore we're going to continue. When the corporate structure gets maybe further from the why, you start going more towards the, how many people are going to not buy our sneakers because of this, or what, is it good and or bad publicity? And as much as I was in marketing, I'm not necessarily always a believer that all publicity is good publicity either.
I don't know. Someone should run their numbers and like before, during, after, and see what it did for them.
Yeah, good point. I'm gonna look that up. I think it's good hearing everybody's point of view. It's making me think on some things. Because I think in the contrary to my friends here, what's your name from Germany? Friso. Yeah, I think, like, for instance, I'm an actor, so if I was making $10 million a film, I think I would be less likely to speak out because I'm possibly going to be appeased, right? I'm going to tell you why, right?
I think because Hollywood disproves that, but go on.
I'm just saying because because I'd be caving to the money because I'm like, I'm making the money. I don't want to get certain people upset because I want to keep the kind of status quo going. Now, unless, right, I had a strong sense of core values and knew my why to the very, very end. I just think it's a hard decision either way, but I actually think it's more difficult as you get bigger to take certain stances for fear of, backlash from customers. But that's just my opinion.
I think it depends on your personal why too. Because if you were satisfied with just getting one movie, $10 million, like, I'm done.
Yeah.
then you could be like, I can say whatever I want. I got enough money to last me my lifetime. True. and I think there's comfort in that. Like, I feel very comfortable starting my business because I, saved 5 months worth of, to keep to my why. I don't have to, like, really, until 5 months from now, I'm not really going to have to dig, like just take whatever comes my way in terms of money. And so it makes me comfortable. And I personally think the more money you have, the more comfortable you are in saying exactly how you feel and think. But I mean, everybody's different.
No, good point. Because yeah, if the money goes low, it's like, how strong was that why? You know.
Well, how desperate am I to hold on to it right now?
It touches on so many other things like loss aversion, right? Like there's just other biological and psychological factors that come into things. I actually wonder how many Hollywood stars go out and say something because they're worried that if they don't express this particular opinion, then other people who are in charge of giving them money, like the agents and the hiring managers and the studios and whatnot, will they have a problem thinking, oh, they might think I don't agree with them and now they won't hire me. Like maybe it's, maybe we're looking at it a little bit backwards, that they feel like they have to have this view or express this opinion, even whether or not it goes along with their why, just because they're worried about the ramification of staying silent.
Well, but the other is true. I mean, you think about the Dixie Chicks saying that they opposed the Iraq War in like 2005
I remember.
or 6.
Oh,
right?
they got fried.
So
they got fried.
They lost.
I gotta say something. I used to be a huge Dixie Chicks fan, right? And around the time when that whole thing happened, that last album they put out was garbage. So I don't know what happened, but they put out a shit album, and then they went and are like, wah, 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 like, we oppose the president. And I was like, I don't know, they're imploding. Like, forget it, moving on.
So they got canceled after that? That was a bad career move for them?
It was
horrible. It was, but, I bet if you ask them today, and I feel like I've heard them say this, they stand by it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do anything different.
Right.
Because they were speaking from their heart. Now, I mean, one might feel, since there's 3 of them, right? There's 3?
Yeah.
One might feel more strongly than another, but I doubt any of them really regret that. Plus, if you're happy with your life, you usually take any of those hard knocks.
Yeah, wow. To think about that. Yeah, the Dixie Chicks, the country music band, and then to stand up against wars took up, I'm sure, a lot of courage for their audience and demographic, but that's something that they believed in. So, wow, I'll have to look that up. That's definitely a thinker right there.
And I'm completely honest. I'd say I used to be a huge fan, and then all in that same time period, they put out like terrible album. They had that, and I don't know, maybe things were related. Who knows? How people make decisions is like a whole separate. That's like it's an entire field of study, and maybe we should find a book on it at some point and read that. How do you make decisions properly in a good way?
Well, I mean, doesn't he address that? You make decisions with your gut and with the part of your brain that's emotion driven, and then you justify it with the facts.
Afterward, though, yeah, there's plenty of that goes on. No, this is a fantastic discussion. That's amazing. I gotta say, most of the stuff he talked about, I was like, whatever. I'm a huge Apple fan. I am streaming on my new Apple computer. I got my iPhone, and I never thought about it as like drinking the Kool-Aid of Apple, but I think maybe he was right, because I've had PCs, and I'm like, I like the Apple because I don't have to like fight with it, like it doesn't get viruses, like all these things, but maybe that's not really, really why I liked it so much.
I was going to say, is that the what that you like, or or do you like the fact that,
I mean, their stuff is beautiful, right? It's like a computer, it's a machine. It's beautiful. Like, who says that about, I don't say about like my calculator, I don't say about my stapler. I'm like, well,
I think they look good too. I still don't own any Apple.
So pretty.
And I thought a lot about Salesforce. So if you aren't familiar, Salesforce is a customer relationship management system. And once you get into that, community. They actually built community there. 170,000 people come to their conference in San Francisco every year. Wow. And they pay a lot of money, and they're billions-dollar companies. And I'm one of them. They have raving fans because Mark Benioff, when he founded Salesforce, he founded the Salesforce Foundation at the same time. He's been for nonprofits and about good causes, making sure that women and men are paid equally and spending millions of dollars to make sure that happens. And then when they acquire a company, having to do it all over again and spend millions of dollars more to do that. And people just gravitate to that, and they just rave about this software product in the, form of B2B.
I also hear people complain about this software.
Yes, no, they do, but they have raving fans. Like, they have a whole community of people. They have people getting together in groups to have social events. There's multiple user groups in the area, Men and Women in Technology group. They have, they have all these different things that people just get behind. And yeah, they complain about things that are broken about the system, and then it's really expensive product. And still there's raving fans, and that has to do with him being inspirational in what he's trying to get across. I don't think that's the whole reason, but I think that it's a huge part of it. And it is
for sure.
Like,
how long have you been working with them? How long have you been working with them?
I don't work for them. I just I'm a customer. But I've been working as a programmer for 4 or 5 years, and I don't know any code. And that's the other thing, is you can learn how to program their software without learning code, and so it becomes fairly accessible versus basically learning a foreign language. So I think that's one thing that really gets people excited. I know it got me excited, obviously. Here I am, raving fan.
Well, that's awesome.
But then people got really upset because he sold Salesforce to the Border Patrol. So there's employees, some quit. They came to the conference and interrupted his keynote speech with banners and protests, because in my mind I was like, well, then maybe he can help keep track of these children and somehow fix the problem. I don't know, but I understand people's aversion to it at the same time.
To make. Yeah, that's a tough decision to make.
Well, that's interesting. Are you
yeah, Bette, have you ever turned down any clients based off anything, viewpoints, contradictory to your wife?
Not for viewpoints. I've turned down clients for not liking their business practices. I've had people that have come to me who are in such bad financial positions that I've told them, nothing I can do will help you. You need, here is a path you need to go down. And if you come back out of that path, reach back out. For example, someone called me once, they were trying to do something in real estate that it sounded kind of sketchy. And as we're talking, the guy told me that he maxed out 11 credit cards and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable taking your money. I don't think I can help you. You need to go, you need to dig yourself out of the situation that you dug yourself into. And something I always tell prospective clients, it does me no good if my client goes out of business, right? So don't be the one to see your client. Don't come to me on April 14th and say, how do I lower my taxes? It's no, that's a during the year conversation. Tax planning's all the time. It's not April 14th when I can't help you anyway. There's nothing you can do at that point.
File an extension.
Yeah, but that's not gonna. That can help you file your taxes, but I can't lower your taxes necessarily at April 14th. That's really hard. But there's definitely the people I would prefer to work with are the ones that want to have an ongoing relationship, and they want to do things the best way they can. I have somebody that's been a client for a few years who, like, I see their mindset towards money and I'm like, you're so limited by what you're saying is a constraint that it almost doesn't make sense to me why you're even in business, right? And they're like, oh, if I make too much money, then X, Y, Z happens, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but if you made so much more money, that wouldn't be an issue. So sometimes it's frustrating, and I don't necessarily fire clients like that because I'm like, I don't know why you think this way, but I can try to help you, and I help them with other stuff, but sometimes I'm shocked. Like, and if they disappeared as a client, I wouldn't be that unhappy. I wish them well, I don't wish them ill, but I don't understand their philosophy towards their business, towards their life and everything. So I don't know, but I try to like aim high. I don't aim for like, well, if I skate in here, I can still get this benefit, right? Because nothing's for free. Whereas if you were like up here, this benefit you're getting, if you had to pay for it, you'd still be making so much money, it wouldn't matter. But you have to decide that that's a goal for you. I can't decide your goals for you. People can't decide my goals for me. It's the same thing. But now, if you told me like some super anti-Semitic person came along, who's like, I want you to do my taxes, if I knew of their views and their viewpoints or whatever, I'd probably say like, maybe you should find somebody else. I don't think I would necessarily take that person if they were very vocal and whatever, but it hasn't happened yet. So I haven't had to make that decision. But if it does, I'll post it in my book club website or the Facebook group. I'll let everybody know. I think.
Yeah, no, I have to make these decisions all the time, to be honest. Like in my profession, and that's why I know a lot about brands and I research them, and because I'm like an independent contractor, so basically using my likeness or image to, promote other people's, products or marketing campaigns or brands or agendas. So it's consistent, or especially in the acting arena, playing a certain role, getting a certain, script or character that doesn't align with, my core values versus, doing things that are for the craft and in honor of it. So there's constantly this struggle at times. So again, just back to the book, it was important to read something like this to kind of reinforce. Also, did anybody watch the TED Talk that he gave?
I watched it a million years ago.
I have it bookmarked.
Cool.
Again, avid book starter. So I have it bookmarked.
So what spoke to you about it? About the TED Talk?
It's so simple, but start with why. It's a very simple statement, but it's not always the easiest to implement. And
right.
I reiterate, that's why it took me probably 2 or 3 months after reading the book to finally put the pen to the paper on the why for my most recent business venture, and then even going back to my personal whys. So I found it quite the challenge. It seems so simple, but it was quite the challenge for me. That's what I got from it.
I gotta say though, Ajman, looking at your website, like, this is really cool. And
thank you.
I've known you for years, so I've seen you from the first idea of this, right? And the first, I think even before you had a prototype, you told me about this, and just you have such a clear, with this, what we believe in the philosophy. I think you have a very specific message, and you're going to appeal to a very specific audience, and I think that audience is going to love it. I mean, I kind of want to buy one right now.
I appreciate that. Yeah, all of that I can wholeheartedly say, a big portion of that comes from after reading this book.
Because I remember like the first, you were like, it's going to be a bag and blah, blah, blah. And this was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's been refined a lot. And it's so funny you say that, because I had a conference call the other day with the suppliers. They are in Guangzhou, and I was on a conference call with the suppliers and also the architects, the designers of the bag, and us three were on the call. And literally in the back of my head, I had to go back to the why when making decisions on aesthetics or making decisions on certain things, or approving or vetoing. So it is the echo, the endless echo, that helps people, helps you navigate making decisions. That's
awesome. Well, I'm glad to see this manifesting.
Thank you. Yeah, if everything goes well, we're gonna have the final prototype the first week of July, and then I'll start promoting it and trying to get the pre-orders and just implementing the Facebook ads and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. It has been a long journey, which is yet another example of the why. It's taken a lot longer than I anticipated, but we had to stick to our core values in producing it.
That's awesome. All right, guys, we only have a couple minutes. Does anyone have like something they want to say that they're going to commit to do as a result of reading this? I am like super wanting to hop on fixing my website copy. It's been a to-do for a while. It's also StoryBrand. If anybody's ever read that, he's got a whole thing about how to market and like how to verbally describe stuff. And maybe I'll throw that book on. I mean, it was pretty good. I liked it. It's not like an earth-shattering book in the way some of these other ones are, but it's been like bugging me in the back of my mind. Like, gotta fix this, because my website is not reflecting my why, and I think that's a problem.
Awesome. Give me the deadline. I'll put a reminder right now so I can call and ask you, did you finish it?
Oh, you got an accountability buddy.
No, I don't want you bugging me.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be like, "Where's my taxes? And did you do your website?"
Where's your why?
And yours is very similar to mine. Pretty much exactly.
Oh, awesome.
I'm gonna put the why on my website. I started a lot with the what. There's a little why there. I have a little info graphic movie, but
can everybody put their link so I can or Bette follow up with the email so I can go and check out everybody's site and stuff?
Yeah. Or
put it in the chat and I'll screenshot it before the end of this call. Hi, good. How you doing? Yes, good.
Yeah, go for it, guys, and I'll save all of this also, and it saves the chat, so I'll have it all.
Yeah, feel free to copy and paste. That'll be our next book, Steal Like an Artist.
All right, so speaking of next book, I have this book. It's been on my wanting to read for a while. It was brought up on a Tony Robbins podcast, and it's called Fanocracy, right? And the thing that appealed to me about it is when you're something boring like a CPA, how do you get stark raving fans to get excited about you, about what you do, things like that? And I was like, oh, there's no way that this applies to me. This is for like other brands, like we're selling something, whatever. And he talked about on the Tony Robbins podcast, insurance, like an insurance agent. And I'm like, if an insurance agent can have stark raving fans, I can absolutely get stark raving fans. So I think this is going to be a good one. My husband, who is a marketing exec, has been bugging me to read this and do this
Oh,
one.
really?
He wants to read it. He's like, well, if you pick it, I'll read it first, and then I'll tell you about it, and then eventually you'll read it.
What is it? It's called
Fanocracy.
You have to make him get on the call next month then.
I try like each month. It depends on his schedule, you know.
I'll harp on him as well if you'd like.
So it's Fanocracy.
Turning
Of David
customers and
Newman
customers.
Scott.
Spearman Scott. Yep.
Yeah, of course. I don't think there is paperback.
What? Oh, is it that new? It's fairly new.
It's hardcover or Kindle, and I don't have a Kindle.
$10 for used from abebooks.com.
You can just get the Kindle app and read it on your phone.
$4.80 on eBay with free 3-day delivery. It's used. Oh, it says PDF. That's weird. I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah, you get the used PDF.
Used PDF. All right. I think it'll be a good one. I'll set up a whole new event and all that. Any final thoughts, words, advice?
No, thank
I'm in
you
the
so
process
much.
of ordering that book now.
Yeah, get that book. Yay.
Yeah, I have to finish this while it comes.
Well, you get like 3 days, so.
Well, yeah, but the thing is also, I also get the free preview. That's what I did with this one. I ordered it on Amazon, and I read the preview for the first 2 or 3 days, and then I just finished it, and then the book came in the mail, so that was awesome.
Nice. All right, cool.
But I guess I'm getting it new.
All right, thank you, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording.